what I can remember, my dad bought this, I think sometime in the late 70s, early 80s. And he bought it because it reminded him of the farm where he grew up. He grew up on a watermelon farm. So it was a watermelon truck, so it reminded him of his home.
So we think it's a 51.
That I'm not sure.
I think I looked it up. It's a 51, and it would have had a big wooden box on the back, like an apple truck, right? Apple crate.
Or in our case, watermelons.
Watermelons, yeah. I think they're called apple crate. I'm not sure. But this may end up being a fountain for a future pond. Or I might have to get it running.
It doesn't matter. You can basically do definitely your feeling.
Yeah.
It's actually starting to look like a garage. Yeah.
It looks big again.
Yeah. Imagine that.
Yeah.
Alright, we need to go.
So we were gonna just throw the old deck sections away. Quite a few of them are very rotted. But we decided we should probably save them and reuse them somewhere. So Dawnua is pulling them off the trash pile, at least the nicest ones, and we are going to repurpose these somewhere, somehow. This amazing machine called a telehandler is here because the garage is almost done. When the workers are away, the Dawsons will play. Don't be fooled. She loves pedicures and manicures and salon days, but she is not afraid to jump into a big machine and figure it out.
I always love knocking down trees or pulling down trees, and normally I use our Land Rover, but we have given that to our sons for their food truck. So while our telehandler is here, I'm going to keep working on this section over here that used to be our orchard, and most of those trees need to come down. Wish me luck.
Well, if there's a machine around, Dawnya's gonna find the keys and climb on it. No, she just enjoys being outside and mowing. I do it occasionally, but she enjoys it probably more than I do. Yeah, so you saw lots of progress on the garage. Not quite finished. I did go ahead and spend some time and put these brackets up for LED lights that are going to be on a dimmer switch out here. We have garage door company coming. We've picked out a couple designs for the front doors. And on the back door, we are actually going to do a full glass and aluminum frame on this. Yeah, so we've got lots of windows. These were not in the original spec of this garage. The windows in the door, a big window here. These windows do not open, but they let in a lot of light. That's west facing there, so in the evening we'll get light in. The door on the east side over here is full glass with the blinds built in, which is a great option to have. Room for countertops or workbenches underneath. We're going to put some rolling carts, rolling benches in here. The idea being with no cars, we can just roll them around to work on projects, various art projects, including, but not limited to, Dawnya's laser engraving company called Sweet and Salty Artifacts. You may have heard about it on Destino Portugal's page. Dawnua is providing the merchandise for Destino Portugal. We'll include a link in our description as well as you can find it on Destino Portugal's page as well. That's a lot of as wells, but I'm not going to edit that. Anyway, you saw Dawnua spent a lot of time clearing away some trees. It's hard to see just exactly what it looked like, but it was really overgrown. Dawnua's mom had a orchard out here, and in fact, we found her original plans, for what trees were planted where. If I can find that, I'll go ahead and post it now so you can see it. So Dawnua is going to recreate that plan that her mom put together. I'll go ahead and walk out there because it's hard to see from a distance. These are some cherry trees that we replanted that Dawnua's mom had. I think they've been shocked by the move. They look like they may not be doing great, but there's some green leaves on there, so we're going to give them a chance. A couple of them maybe aren't going to make it. But I'm going to talk about those trees a little more in a second because those trees may actually be moved again, and I'll explain why. But this was all overgrown, and as you saw earlier, Dawnua cleared this out with the telehandler or that extendable forklift. Most of this is volunteer growth or saplings that grew up over time as Dawnua's mom was unable to keep up with the property. And so we've been busy clearing a lot of trees, clearing a lot of junk, and we haven't had any complaints yet, but I imagine at some point there may be some complaints about removing so many trees. It bothers me even to think about it, but there's a lot left. And in order to manage this properly, we have got to remove a lot, but we're also trying to think strategically about what is staying. And there's been some pretty happy accidents. I'm standing in a section that was really overgrown. Lots of saplings. We had a company come through and just pretty much clear it out. But when we moved some of those saplings, these two trees that were just little dwarf things, all of a sudden, as soon as they had some light, these started popping up. They're apple trees, 2 of them. And we had no idea that these were here. And just in the year since we've cleared all this out, which is hard to tell right now, but it was really overgrown, we've got apples. And I mean a lot of apples. So clearing away trees has really been beneficial already. So it's something we're going to continue to do. We've already talked about it. We're not going to do extensive landscaping because we want to leave that for whoever is the next owner of this property. But we want to leave them with a nice blank slate to work with, as well as have some things that would make the property enticing. Which brings me back to those cherry trees. So as you stand in the garage and you think about the glass door with the metal frame, it just kind of stands to reason that perhaps this is a perfect spot for a pool. Yeah, it's kind of a crazy idea. We hadn't really planned to do something like that. This is already becoming a bigger project than what we intended, but we're 10 acres out in Kansas, about 50 miles away from Kansas City. I think to make this property really desirable and easy to sell, we're going to have a few amenities here that are going to make it worthwhile for somebody to basically live isolated from a big city, or at least, you know, a good hour away from a big city. So that's the plan. A small swimming pool, just enough to maybe get cool, maybe do a couple laps, nothing ridiculous. Perhaps a patio or a deck off the back of the garage. So the garage then becomes a garage when cars are in it, but when you take the cars out, it becomes a pool house. So that's the idea there. One more thing I wanted to show you on the front of the garage. Well, if you notice on the front of the house, we have this stonework. Dawnua has memories of traveling the highways with her parents and stopping along the highway to pick up stones. And those are the stones that were used on the house, on the outside as well as the inside. And we have a large pile of stones over here, and there's others scattered around. So the front of the garage is going to get stones added to match the house. So that should bring you up to date. We've been a little behind, at least a couple weeks behind. Got a couple other things going on, not the least of which is I may be changing jobs, my day job. In fact, it's looking pretty good. Right now, as you know, I commute to Connecticut back and forth, which has not been super conducive to helping around here, managing a remodel. So the new job will allow me to work permanently remotely. In fact, I've already talked to them about the possibility of us moving to Portugal, and if I could continue to work remotely doing that. They of course can't promise anything, but I was given some very encouraging possibility that that's something they would be willing to work with. So thinking ahead 2, 3, 4 steps down the road, that's going to be really important for us when we make the move, to be able to continue to work and have that flexibility. So if we haven't said it already, if you are enjoying our journey or you want to continue to follow our journey, please don't hesitate to subscribe. You know, make sure you click the bell for notifications, because right now we're not releasing these on a regular cadence. That may change when I'm here full time, but we'll see. Yeah, so go ahead, subscribe, hit the notification bell, tell your friends and family, and Dawnua would want you to also stay hydrated and eat your veggies. Thanks, we'll see you next time.